This episode of Mark Who 42 WHOniverse podcast is brought to you by Audible.com.
Get a free audiobook download and a 30-day free trial at www.audibletrial.com/MarkWho42.
That's www.audibletrial.com/MarkWho42.
There are over 150,000 titles to choose from for your iPhone, Android, Kindle, or MP3 player.
This is Ian McNeese, and you're listening to Mark Who 42.
Welcome to Mark Who 42's WHOniverse, Doctor Who WHOniverse, that is. I'm your host, Mark-Baumgarten, and with me today are...
Trish-helm.
And Eduardo-m-Freyre. And I'm still trying to figure out, what do you get Henry Van Stat for his birthday? I don't know.
And
he's got everything.
Well, he's forgotten everything, though. Remember, they sent him out on the street, wiped his memory.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
A scrapbook.
A Dalek. I'm Christian-basel, by the way. Hi.
Boy, that was a great opening. That was strong opening. Strong. This is our Doctor Who podcast for those of you who want to listen. Please stay by and listen in. We have our special guest from the Geeks of Comedy, Patrick Hawkins, later on. But first,
we're going to go to Doctor Who News with our Doctor Who correspondent, Patricia Helm.
Hello, everybody.
Hey,
How's
Trish.
everybody doing?
Hello, Patricia. Did you give your mother a nice gift for Mother's Day?
I did. I sent her something through Amazon. It was chocolate-covered nuts with a side of roasted nuts. Well, when she got it, the chocolate was all melted together. It was a big ball. She had to take a hammer to it to break it apart. So
Amazon,
I contacted
that
Amazon.
was a giant epic fail, as the young children seem to say.
I contacted Amazon, and they gave me a refund.
Oh, that's nice of them. Amazon's nice. And if you want books from Amazon, like Doctor Who books, go to amazon.com/shop/Mark42 for all your Doctor Who book needs.
Oh, good Lord. We've just started and you've done a plug.
Take a drink, folks.
You've just started and you've done a plug.
We're going to be drunk by the end of this one.
Good God.
Okay. Well, to the news. They released a synopsis for The Engines of War by George Mann, which is, the book about the War Doctor.
Oh, yes. Can't wait for that. But I especially can't wait for Ed's story with the War Doctor. That's coming out real soon, isn't it, Ed?
Yeah, should be by the end of the month.
Do you guys want to hear the synopsis?
Yeah, go for it.
Especially the part where they say it's not going to be as good as mine.
The Great Time War has raged for centuries, ravaging the universe. Scores of human colony planets are now overrun by Dalek occupation forces. A weary, angry doctor leads a flotilla of battle TARDISes against the Dalek stronghold, but in the midst of the carnage, the doctor's TARDIS crashes to a planet below, Maldox. As the doctor is trapped in an apocalyptic landscape, Dalek patrols roam amongst the wreckage, rounding up the remaining civilians. But why haven't the Daleks simply killed the humans? Searching for answers, the Doctor meets Cinder, a young Dalek hunter. Their struggles to discover the Dalek plan take them from the ruins of Maldox to the halls of Gallifrey, and set in motion a chain of events that will eventually change everything and everyone.
Wow, that sounds really cool. I can't wait to read that. And
it's supposed to go all the way. All the way up to the Day of the Doctor.
You know what's really interesting about the synopsis? It put to bed the question that everyone asks: what is the plural of TARDIS? It said battle TARDISes. It's there. It's written in ink. Yes. Battle TARDISes, not TARDI. TARDISes.
Yes.
But that sounds excellent. I can't wait to read that.
Do you think Cinder's going to be counted as a companion?
That's what I hear. I hear they said that there was going to be he'd have a companion. So, but will it be canon? And then I guess it would be because it's BBC Books. So, yeah.
Now, here's the thing. Notice they did not give Cinder a gender.
True.
Could be a guy, could be a girl.
Oh, right. Well, now we got some casting news.
Casting news.
Yes, for Series 8. Hermione Norris, who recently was starring in The Crimson Field on BBC One. Moffat says that it's a testament to the quality of Peter Harness's intense and emotional script that we've been able to attract an actress of the brilliance of Hermione Norris. So he's excited for it. And then he also said that for the first time since 1984, the Doctor Who production team is heading to Lanzarote.
Lanzarote.
Oh, okay. I wasn't
That's how you pronounce it.
Lanzarote. Okay. The Doctor is returning to the scene of an old adventure, but there have been sinister changes since his last visit. So there's a bunch of theories over what that means.
You know what it could mean? It could mean Turlough's coming back.
Yeah, there's that. But then they're also saying maybe the Doctor's returning to Pompeii.
To bring in the previous appearance of Capaldi.
Yes.
But the thing is, okay, I don't know. That theory, I don't know about that, because the problem I have is that, okay, Fires of Pompeii, of course, ended with Volcano Day. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, what else can you say? You know, one theory is Lanzarote, last time they were there was for Planet of Fire.
Right.
In the Davidson era. Could it be that's the adventure? You know, could it be picking up
Well, right, that's why I'm saying that Turlough would be back, and that would be cool.
Well, although, I don't know, but they haven't... But see, if Turlough's coming back, then we're talking a surprise along the level of Paul McGann coming back in Night of the Doctor.
Well, they were able to do that.
There's been no word of that, so...
Yeah.
But there's also another conflicting report that, that maybe this is a story that's going to take place on the moon. There's a rumored title of an episode called Kill the Moon.
Kill the Moon.
And saying that, that this location could also, be backdrops for the moon. Who knows?
Because he's been to the moon before. I mean, if they're saying it's a returning location, so
moon base?
Could be moon base.
Moon base?
Cybermen could be back. Yes. I don't know.
Well, there's that one shot of the guy companion. What's it? Danny Pink. Wearing the orange spacesuit.
Yeah, shouldn't he be wearing a pink spacesuit? Yeah, just the pink and orange don't go together. I don't think. I'm not great at.
Okay. I think they pink and orange do go together.
Oh, do they?
If we're talking like sort of 80s kind of Miami Vice.
And we are from what I understand. And we are from what I understand.
Yeah. So
Oh God. Speaking of Series 8, American director Rachel Talalay, who she's worked on the TV shows Haven, The Dead Zone, Kyle XY and Supernatural, and Continuum. She's going to be directing 2 episodes of Doctor Who.
Ooh.
Mm.
And she's an admitted Doctor Who fanatic. She's also kind of tweeted something that is feeding into a rumor that the finale of Season 8 is going to be a 2-parter.
Oh.
Because up till now, they're saying that practically every episode is going to be a standalone episode. But she tweeted about working on Doctor Who. She says, "Can't believe it myself. Taking lame-o selfies in the TARDIS. It's the finale. 2-parter. Rest is top secret."
And that part, the finale 2-parter thing, because I think first time I saw the tweet, they just said the thing about the selfies. It was later on, when I went back to the article, that they had the thing about the finale. It's interesting that it got added now.
Comedian Frank Skinner is going to guest star on this. Now, he had a little spot in the Five-ish Doctors reboot. He was one of the guys reading Doctor Who magazine. And but he's been after Moffat to be on Doctor Who as the third monster on the left, as long as he's been, as long as he's been working with Doctor Who. So now Moffat says, hopefully he'll get out of my garden now.
Yeah, and hopefully his appearance will be better than the guy who voiced Handles. Because I mean, he was supposed to be voiced by this big comedian, and I'm sorry, I don't like Handles. I was like, wait, he was voiced by a comedian, so why wasn't I laughing?
And also, evidence is mounting that Ellis George might become more of a third companion.
Oh,
on the TARDIS.
We're back in the old days.
Peter Davidson, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Samuel Anderson, he tweeted, there's a new member in the Who crew, My Little Sis. And they had a picture of, their set chairs with their names on it, all lined up, and had her there as well. So they're thinking that, maybe she's going to be on for more than just one episode.
So it's not going to be like when we had those annoying little kids in Nightmare in Silver.
Please no.
Oh, I hope not. I hope not. I hope not.
Companions, collect the whole set.
Now, there was an article in Doctor Who magazine where Moffat was talking about casting Peter Capaldi.
Right.
And he was saying that he doesn't think that any of the doctors are conventionally attractive. But he finds them but he finds them all interesting. He said handsome men don't quite suit the Doctor.
Well, Stephen Moffat isn't particularly handsome either.
That almost sounds like a burn. That almost sounds like a burn.
Well, he just
I'm smelling bacon.
He just burned every Doctor. Why can't I burn him?
He's the showrunner of the show that we're talking about. You're the showrunner of the podcast. The hierarchy doesn't match here. Sorry, man.
So in a nice way, he's saying, Chris, David, Matt, you ugly.
You ugly. You ugly.
You know what? Well, you know what I mean.
You ain't got no alibi. You ugly.
Okay.
You ugly.
Say what you will about David Tennant not being attractive. He gets to go home to Georgia Moffat, so I'm sure he's not crying in his sleep. Why does nobody love me? Oh, wait a minute.
Now I'm believing that Moffat is out of touch with his audience base because have you seen the fangirls lately? Have you seen DeviantArt?
Yeah, I have.
Now, here's something else that Moffat said that will make Eddie very happy. Moffat says that the time for flirting is over.
Yes!
This Doctor goes back to... This Doctor goes back to being the trickier version of the Doctor, the fiercer alien wanderer. He's not a human being, however much he larks around pretending he is. He is different, and it's time to stop play acting. He's not apologizing. He's not flirting with you. That's over.
Yes!
Then again, we know Moffat lies.
Yeah, Moffat does lie.
Stop!
true.
Stop trying to kill my buzz.
No.
Stop trying to kill my buzz. I'm happy now. I'm happy. Stop trying to kill my happiness. Stop it.
Now he's Pharrell Williams.
Stop.
Oh, right. Now, I know, Mark, you posted about this on our website.
Yeah.
mark-who42.net, about the Fathom Events movie thing that's happening.
Oh, yeah. That's going to be amazing.
The 2-evening celebration of David Tennant. It's going to be here in the U.S. On the first night, they're going to be showing The Rise of the Cybermen and the Age of Steel. And it's going to be a theatrical cut. And that'll be interesting. And then the second night, there's going to be a documentary called Wings 3D, which is narrated by David Tennant. So, for 2 tickets.
Now, I'm wondering, is this like the only way they can get people into the theater to see this documentary by hooking it up on another night with a free ticket so they have Doctor Who? I mean, is there something wrong with this documentary that they have to like?
Wait, Wings? Is it about Paul McCartney? Because
it might be, and maybe that's the problem.
No, that's how the chicken got
Are you
started.
dissing Paul McCartney?
I like Paul McCartney.
Paul McCartney.
If he comes down to South Florida, I am going to see Paul McCartney. I am not dissing Paul McCartney.
Don't diss it.
I will not diss Paul McCartney.
Don't
Do
diss
not
it,
worry.
Beetle.
Little
Hey,
ranch.
children!
Yes.
Yes, okay, and there will be a little interview with David Tennant following the Doctor Who.
I think we're going to Weekend TARDIS, the Doctor Who club in South Florida, is going to have an outing. We're going to have an outing and go to that. I'm starting to set that up.
Field trip. Gold bus.
That's what?
No seatbelts.
That's what? Weekend of the 24th?
It was the 16th.
Yeah.
Oh.
It's a Monday and a Tuesday.
Yes, a Monday and a Tuesday night.
Yeah, the 16th and the 17th of June.
I can take my cue from Sam Eagle. It'll be something like, it's a tribute to all Doctor Who's, but mostly David Tennant.
Yep. Oh, okay, now stepping away from Doctor Who for just a bit. Did anyone see the trailer for Karen-Gillan's new TV show, Selfie?
Yeah, I saw it, and I'm not...
It does kind of scare me.
I wasn't aware until I saw that it was basically a takeoff on My Fair Lady. I mean, even going so far as, John-Cho, his name is Henry Higgins, and Karen Gillan's name is Eliza Dooley.
Yeah, it's pretty much closer to Doolittle than I can think.
Yeah.
But I'm just I watched it and I'm just thinking, how are they going to make this into a series? I don't get it because, I mean, once he fixes her, what else is there? How could it be any more than
fall in love, and then it turns into a romance comedy. I don't know.
No, for me, I was, Trish and I were talking about it last night as we were show prepping.
Mm-hmm.
And
you do that?
Yes, I do that. Yeah, you're supposed to do that. Anyway.
Every other week.
Yeah.
But yeah, we were show prepping, and the whole premise, first of all, I mean, it feels like something that if this was a romantic comedy movie,
right,
coming out in that period between award season and summer blockbuster season, like if this had come out in February or March or whatever, it would come and go, and it would barely be a blip. But making it an entire series, it's like, yeah, there's no, how could this sustain a series? And then, first of all, it being a riff on My Fair Lady, but then the fact that I'm watching the trailer and in her American ditz accent, Karen-Gillan goes, "Oh wow, it's all My Fair Lady." I'm like, so you're hammering the joke down our throats.
Yeah.
You feel the audience is that stupid that you need to like have a big banner that says My Fair Lady parody, My Fair Lady parody.
I'm not really sure how ABC greenlit this for series.
I think what it is that, Karen-Gillan is popular because of Doctor Who and because of Guardians of the Galaxy coming in.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh, let's snag her to be like, hey, geek guys, it's this cute girl you like. And, they figure, oh.
And John-Cho, Sleepy
John-Cho,
Hollow, Star
Harold
Trek.
And Star Trek, right?
Harold
Exactly. But it just, honestly, I look, and I hate to say this. This hurts me. This actually gives me physical pain. I don't have high hopes for the show.
No.
And mark my words, I can see it not even lasting to December. Like, I think this will crash and burn.
I think it's going to get canceled after 2 or 3 episodes, if that.
This is going to burn.
This
is going to burn.
Because
this is the Hindenburg. I'm telling you.
And I feel bad to say that.
As much as I love Karen-Gillan, just watching the trailer, she annoyed me to no end.
Yeah.
And I know that's supposed to be her character. That's why he's supposed to fix her, but it turned me off a lot.
Yeah.
And I was just like, well, of course, I'm not a big fan. Ooh, this is taboo for a lot of people. I'm not a fan of My Fair Lady. I don't like the whole premise of having to fix somebody, and I've never liked it. It's like I've always wanted her to, shove his slippers down his throat at the end of the movie. And so
So you were not a fan of Pygmalion either?
No.
Because if you think about it, based on Pygmalion, not My Fair Lady, if you think about it.
Yeah, because they're not singing. Yeah. But
and on a special Jump the Shark episode of Selfie, John-cho and Karen-Gillan shave their heads.
And
Fifth
Brian
episode.
Blessed comes by and
there we go.
No, I'm going to watch it. I'm going to give it a shot. I'm going to watch the first episode and see what I think.
I'll watch the first episode. I'll watch the first episode because I got to be fair. Can't just go by the trailers. But honestly, the trailer did not wow me, and the fact that you had the whole thing revolving around, oh my God, she's carrying 2 bags full of barf. Uh-oh, they broke open and everybody took a picture. It's like, okay, is this supposed to be a comedy on regular TV, or is this supposed to be a bad Family Guy joke or a rejected joke from a Hangover movie? I mean, it's just it's like I'm sure if you took out Karen-Gillan and put in like Ed Helms' character from The Hangover, the joke would probably still work, and in fact, it would probably go even further because you'd have Ed Helms like, "Stop taking a picture, man! Somebody get me a paper towel!"
Well, I think I'm going to be with Mark. I'm going to give it a chance, but yeah, I got to go with Trish on this one. When I saw it, I'm like, oh my God, this is horrible. If this was not those two up as the leads, I probably wouldn't even dreamt of this. And if I'm not mistaken, I kind of looked it up on Wikipedia. The person who created, what was it, Suburgatory?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I was like, I didn't lay interest into this, and it just kind of reminded me of the trailer for Diary of a Shopaholic. And I was like, I am not going to watch this.
I tried to watch that, and I could not watch it.
So
Selfie, honestly, I hate to say this, I worked on Shopaholic. I was an extra in one of the scenes, and I don't know, I started watching the film, and then when it got to the scene that I was a part of, I just stopped watching. I was like, okay, I saw myself in the background. I'm good.
And going by what you said, Trish, on that, it wasn't the accent with Karen-Gillan. It wasn't that. Had anybody seen Rex is Not Your Lawyer, that trailer that was on the YouTube?
Oh, the one that
David Tennant aborted David Tennant pilot?
Right, and everybody was criticizing, God, he is really fighting that Scottish accent to hang on to the American. That was the same thing I was listening to Karen.
That's what I was thinking,
She was battling that accent to get rid of that Scott accent to hit the American. I'm like, okay, is she doing the Scott or is she doing the British?
And some of the way she says her words, it really grated on me. I was just like,
and it sounded like again, the accent that I think she was trying to go for was American Ditz, but it sounded weird.
Because she added a little bit of that Valley Girl
exactly.
thing to it, but I think that was her trying to cover up her accent.
We're running for that Legally Blonde moment, and hopefully that'll catch on. And it worked for that, but for the other movies that try to parody it it's not working. It's horrible.
No, because you look at this person, and you think, how can anybody be this stupid? Or how can anybody be this self-absorbed? Of course, when you look at the Kardashians, and you know why. But,
And you know what they did? ABC did? They moved Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. to 9 o'clock on Tuesday night so they could put this on at 8 o'clock.
Yeah, that was bad. I mean, honestly, what they should do, what would be a dream, is if they could have Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and Agent Carter sharing the same night, one leading into the other.
Yeah, that would be smart. I
don't know. Maybe it's that Agent Carter still needs to produce episodes, so they got to come up with this temporarily.
Yeah.
But I would say if anybody from ABC is listening to this, or if anybody knows anybody who works at ABC, the minute you get a chance, the minute that the window is open for this, put Agent Carter and Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. on the same night.
I mean, CBS does that with CBS does it with NCIS. with NCIS and NCIS LA. They put it as a 2-hour block. They should do that with the Marvels.
Exactly. Do that with the Marvels.
But you know what, though? If Agent Carter is as good as we all hope it's going to be, they would want to put it on 2 different nights so they could dominate 2 nights.
Yeah.
Do you think Karen-Gillan's going to walk in and just yell, "Hail Hydra"? That'll be the episode. That's it. It just goes to the dark.
That I'd watch. Okay, what else do we have in the news, Trish?
Only one thing, and we also did post about it on our website. It was Catherine Tate's 46th birthday on May 12th.
Yay!
Last week. So happy birthday to Donna. She's my favorite.
No, and hey, we had other birthdays. I mean, we had in addition to Catherine Tate, since we last recorded. We also had the birthday of Maureen Diane Lipman, who played The Wire. For Harry Potter fans, we had Zoe Wanamaker, who in Doctor Who played Cassandra. And then, hey, for multiple fandoms, we had Thomas Brodie Sangster, or I've also seen him listed as Thomas Sangster. For us Whovians, he played Tim Latimer in Human Nature, Family of Blood. For those who love the romantic comedy Love Actually, which Trish and I do, he was the adorable Sam, the kid who fell in love with a classmate and learned how to play the drums for her. And then for Game of Thrones fans, he's been playing Joran Reed. So, there's a big B-Day. And then, just the day before we recorded this. We recorded this on the 18th. Just the day before, there was the birthday of Corey Johnson, who played Henry Van Staten.
That's why you were asking what to get him for.
Exactly.
It wraps up. It's a cycle of things.
There you go. See what happens when you pay attention to everything,
Yeah, it all wraps up in a pretty package.
Exactly.
So is that all the news we have?
That is all the news we have for today.
A little rider to the news. We had the trailer for Selfie, but if you want a trailer with Karen-Gillan to get you excited, I think sometime early this week, maybe tomorrow, there's going to be a new trailer for Guardians of the Galaxy.
All right.
They did put up a small teaser for the trailer yesterday, and I didn't see any Nebula footage with it, but it did show there's going to be some new footage, so hopefully one of those pieces of new footage will be more footage of Karen-Gillan as Nebula.
I hope so, because I'm looking forward to Guardians of the Galaxy.
Oh, God, so am I.
By the time you get this, tomorrow, which today we're recording May 18th, May 19th, the Traveling TARDIS will celebrate its 2nd anniversary of traveling.
That's right.
Stop on by on Facebook and see all the pictures that we've collected over the 2 years, all the friends that we've come across, all the conventions and sites that we've seen. It will be the 19th, so by the time you hear this, it's already said and done, so you can catch the anniversary afterward that, but we're doing it through the whole month of May, that you can see some of the old stuff and some new stuff that's being accumulated as we enter the 3rd year.
Excellent. I Traveling TARDIS is a great site. It's a great concept, and it's down to you, Christian. Okay, when we come back from our first break, we're going to have our interview with one of the members of Geeks of Comedy, Patrick Hawkins, so stick around.
Hello, my name's Fraser Hines, also known as Jamie McCrimmon. You're listening to Mark Who 42's podcast.
Kid? Yes? Shut up.
Beyond the Night is the GCRN's latest review podcast. We are covering everything in the Knight Rider television universe, from the classic 80s TV series to the 1991 reunion film Team Knight Rider, and the 2008 relaunch series as well. So join TFG and Mike and Dion the Music Man as they go in-depth and Beyond the Night only on Geekcast Radio Network. You can find Beyond the Night in iTunes and on www.geekcastradio.com.
Kit.
Yes, Michael.
Just keep driving.
The voice of Christian-basel, take one.
Hi, I'm Christian-basel, and I would like to provide my voice for all your voiceover needs, such as...
Okay, like an announcer.
Like a what?
Like an announcer.
For all your voiceover needs, such as animation, radio, announcements, introductions...
Now an old man.
I can even record voicemail for all the Meshuggahs that call you.
A pirate.
Arr, and it won't cost you a lot of treasure for me services. Arr.
Creepy movie voice.
Just call 407-761-2679. 407-761-2679. Or email voiceofchristian-basel@yahoo.com. Well, how was that?
That's a wrap.
This is Marku42's Universe. We're back, and I'm your host, Mark Baumgarten, and of course we've got Eduardo-m-Freyre, Trish-helm, and Christian-basel along for the ride. And now, like we promised you, we've got a Geek of Comedy. We've got Patrick Hawkins as our guest. Hello, Patrick.
Hey, guys. How you doing today?
We're doing good. So, Patrick, I first met you. You were wearing a War Doctor outfit at MegaCon.
That is correct. That was a, not to start off on a bit of a downer thing, but that was a sort of an odd perfect storm. My father passed away last autumn, and he had some of his Vietnam era stuff, and he had some of my grandfather's World War II era stuff. So I was looking at military leggings and combat boots and a big 70s leather jacket, and then I saw the anniversary special. I saw William Hurt. I was like, my God, I've got 3/4 of the costume right here. So,
William Hurt, the star of Children of a Lesser God, was in.
Oh my!
William Hurt.
You know who I mean. Caligula from I, Claudius. Okay.
John Hurt.
My bad.
You're
Yes, I threw that together. Last year I went as Troughton Doctor number 2 to the bafflement of all the young Who fans. So I think I'd upgrade this year.
So, Patrick, tell us a little about the Geeks of Comedy. What exactly are you guys?
We are professional comedians who, well, some of us are professional comedians and some of us are geeks who were bitten by a radioactive comedian. I consider myself part of the former. Basically, it all boils down to several years ago, we got asked to do a show, and we sort of said, oh, okay, well, we can, scrape together some material. And a bit like Steve Martin's plumber's routine, if you remember that, I began to realize, wait a minute, what if I really deep into the geek culture? Not necessarily geek items of note that are universal, but really go deep into the geek subculture. And in conventions, it works, and it works really well, and the audiences respond to it extremely well. This year at MegaCon, we had a standing room only of 300, and we brought the house down, and we're going to actually take this on tour. We're going to start doing the other conventions throughout the Southeast, and we're going to see where it goes.
Darn it, not the Pacific Northwest. Damn it.
Yeah,
I'll get there eventually. Well, I'll
We're
go.
limited.
I'll go wherever, really. And the beauty of it is, too, we're a loose confederation. So if a convention can say, well, we can only afford to bring 2 of you out, it's like, okay, then 2 of us will go.
Oh, yeah, that's very accommodating of you.
Well, get on the Wizard World con.
Oh, that's right. There's a Wizard World coming to Reno, isn't there?
Yes, there is in November.
Have you heard anything from Florida SuperCon?
Florida SuperCon actually has their own little group there.
Yeah, they do.
I don't want to infringe on their territory. In the regular stand-up world, we have a lot of mutual friends, and and she's always got a full card, the girl that runs it, so I've never really reached out to her. I figure, all right, you know what? They've got their thing going on. They've got it sewed up. And they don't seem to really want to travel, though. So I'm perfectly content to let them have their fiefdom in South Florida, and I'll just take the rest of the North.
Okay. You get the rest of the United States, and they keep South Florida.
Pretty much.
God, I feel like I'm listening to something from Game of Thrones. Well, they have their fiefdom in the southeast, but we have this territory here. But perhaps if we get with the house in the northwest, we'll be able to consolidate our forces.
I'm thinking like this is a risk game. You're getting all your players into Greenland, and if you hopefully throw the right dice number, that you'll actually take over the green parts and everything like that.
Well, it kind of is. This
world domination here.
We can't claim to have created the concept of a geek comedy show or anything like that, but I do feel there is a kind of a Cold War brewing about, okay, who's going to be the first group to really kind of break out and make its mark, so to speak, in it. So I think that's kind of this unsubtle race that's going on right now. So not to get all heavy. Yeah. Anyway,
downer, man. Heavy.
Well, I know whose side I'll be on.
Well, we appreciate that.
Too.
Thank you.
Now, I got a question. You said you performed in 2 types of atmospheres, one for like MegaCon, and then your team just recently did the improv, which doesn't have as much as the band geekdom there. How performing in front of 2 different audiences with the knowledge of the geekdom made a difference to the team? And are you guys going to do like jokes that may be catering to people who may not be of the fandom world?
Well, it just sort of all depends. I personally am the one guy who absolutely goes into it up to my neck, and sometimes I may drown, and then sometimes I will just absolutely hit it out of the park. With the ideal audience at a convention, I do extremely well. With kind of a 50-50 audience like there was at the improv, I can be kind of flat. Christian was sure as hell entertained, I believe. So.
I was loving it.
And Christian is my target audience. So it was kind of that sense of, well, that's really...
Think big.
Well,
I'm not going to even go there.
Hey, now.
Every comedian can go on up and talk about like, hey, my girlfriend and blah, 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 and kids today and Justin Bieber. And artistically, I just have no interest in that. I know my audience, and I see the need, I see the hunger that they have for like a material that appeals directly to them. So I just go for it. Now, my partner, Will Hageman, he performed also that night, and he's one of our stalwart members of Geeks of Comedy, who incidentally is a fantastic David Tennant impersonator, and he actually played the David Tennant doctor a couple of years ago for the Universal Studios Halloween Horror Nights Bill and Ted show. Wow. If any of you happen to have caught that.
I did not catch it. I wish I had.
Yeah. It was one of those things where the director was a Who fan, and he said, you know what, I'm going to sneak in a Doctor Who thing. And so they built a TARDIS, and he came on out, and he talked to Bill and Ted in the show, and it was quite droll, actually.
They didn't have the 4th Doctor? Well, that's an epic fail.
Well, he looked at their phone booth and said, oh, no, what have you done to her?
That's
nice.
So in response to your earlier question is that I prefer the conventions because it's clean, where everybody's on the same page, and everybody is really appreciative of how deep we go into it, as opposed to just making a joke. Aquaman, he talks to fish. What's up with that?
Sounds like Family Guy right there.
Funny Mark should bring up Family Guy. How would you compare yourself to stuff that claimed to be geek humor, like Family Guy or Cartoon Network's Robot Chicken,
or Big Bang Theory,
or
Community?
You know, the weird thing, Big Bang Theory, of course, has a huge resentment among the geek community. People say, oh, it's nerd blackface and blah, blah, blah. And my attitude is, all right, you don't like Big Bang Theory because you feel like we're being represented bad. Okay. Ask any American father in the past, like 50 years, how they would feel about how the American dad has been depicted in sitcoms. And yeah, it's like, get over it, guys. Okay. You know, it's like, it's a show about us. And to their credit, their references are correct.
Yeah.
They really are, and that almost stupefies me when they start talking about like the Red Hulk kicking Thor's ass and stuff like that. And I was like, by George, somebody in that writing room actually reads the stuff and enjoys it. So yeah. I'm all for it. I have no problem with the proliferation of it. There's surface material that's a little more universal. I mean, yeah, of course, you know, you can go on up and make fun of Aquaman and Batman and Robin's relationship. I certainly do.
What was their relationship? PG-13 style. No.
Why? That was
no. Batman and Robin are it's a bachelor and his ward. That's it.
And his Batcave.
Does anybody even have a ward anymore? That's
that's right, because Dick Grayson isn't there anymore. So yeah, I mean, Dick Grayson's out and about, and he's old enough, so he's not the ward anymore. So no, I guess he doesn't have a ward.
Well,
for a moment there, he actually had a son.
Well, Damien had Damien.
Damien was his actual son. So that's his actual kid. That was his actual kid.
But he let his actual kid get killed. So what's the point?
Well, technically, I believe he actually adopted Jason Todd, or at least he tried to formally adopt Jason Todd.
But I think his dad was. Oh no, Jason Todd. Right, he tried to adopt Jason Todd, but he got killed.
And Dick was really pissed about that too. He was like, at Donna Troy's wedding, he was like, "Why didn't you try to adopt me?"
I think Tim Drake was formally adopted after his dad died.
Boy, when Bruce finally kicks it, there's going to be a lot of people saying, "I'm the rightful heir."
Well, I think they did have like a huge thing about what was going to happen when Batman disappeared there for a while.
They always do. Every writer always comes up with a oh, Dick, if you're reading this, I'm dead, and I really loved you, and blah blah blah, and oh, by the way, I'm leaving everything to Damian. So because this is being written by Grant Morrison, and Grant Morrison wants the royalty checks off of Damian.
That's right. That's why they killed him off,
Well, that's what is in Batman. And curiously enough, we could talk about this later. This is my attitude towards Doctor Who and its companions now. It seems like everybody wants to make their mark by, I'm going to create the greatest sidekick ever that will be incredibly popular, and even when I'm off the book, I'll collect the royalties on them.
Kill off everybody. Don't have to pay the royalties on that nonsense.
I don't know if that would explain Game of Thrones, but although it's funny you should mention that because Patrick, I wanted to get your opinion on this.
Go ahead.
I see a lot of, and by the way, I see some of this on Christian's Traveling TARDIS. But I see a lot of things about, Moffat, and he does all this stuff to the characters. Like, there's that joke of that Christian put up on Traveling TARDIS, which is the book with the dinosaur, All My Friends Are Dead, and the caption says Book of Moffat. Lately, I've been thinking that's totally off base, because if you think about it, Moffat is nothing compared to George R.R. Martin.
I would agree wholeheartedly.
Can you honestly, Patrick? This is to Patrick, and this is to everybody also in the room, so to speak. Do you honestly think Stephen Moffat could have come up with something like The Red Wedding, or what happened to Ned Stark at the end of Book 1?
I think Moffat would not, but I think Russell T Davies certainly would. Russell T Davies had a mean streak to him. He really did. Like the one episode where like the Doctor Who fans are talking about him and they all get like, dying and horribly. I mean, Russell, a lot of things too with the
Love and Monsters.
Utopia episode when the guy comes back and says, "There's nothing there. It's all dead." That was a throwaway line, but it was if you were paying attention, it's like, wow, the universe was really done and over with. What's going on here? And he never went back to it and said, "Oh, well, the Doctor eventually saved the day or fixed this or whatever." So, but I think Fu fans might be a little overly sensitive to Moffat. I think he's doing fine for what he is doing within his own meter. There's a lot of things I disagree with. I think he has too much companion worship and not enough Doctor worship for my tastes.
Well, hopefully that's all going to change with Peter Capaldi. Hopefully they're going to.
Well, hey, I mean, I just got to say, I mean, people rag on Moffat, but come on, when he had the Pawns leave, at least they got displaced in time, but they got to grow old together. I mean, you didn't have something like I said, George R.R. Martin. He had he had the Red Wedding. He had one of his characters choking to death at his own wedding. I mean, come on, when did Moffat ever do that?
Yeah, but think about it. And this is a point that's been brought up time and time again. I'll bring it up. Maybe Patrick can say something about it. The fact, they were Amy and Rory were displaced in time in New York. The Doctor can never go back to New York in that time period. I get on a train or a plane and leave New York and go maybe to Florida, and then the Doctor can meet them up in Florida.
No. I think he can still go back. I think he can still go back to that time period. It's just that he can't interact with the Pawns. He can't,
Well, no. They said it was New York because of the Weeping Angels, the whole thing that was going on, the time anomalies. They could not go back to that period in New York.
Yeah, they said it was that specific time period. It didn't have anything to do with the Pawns themselves.
So why can't
land
they
in
meet
Jersey
up
and take the subway?
The subway would keep them in New York, but go to
Jersey.
We'll go to Jersey.
Well, maybe,
go to Jersey.
Are you from Jersey? I'm from Jersey.
Are you from Jersey?
Well, no. Maybe. Okay. Well, maybe there's something. Maybe there's something to the anomaly, that will somehow keep them rooted in New York. So then if they try to pull that off, if they try to get like a plane ticket to Georgia or something.
Yeah, let's have an episode
something
in Georgia.
Like
I'm sorry,
something, maybe something will happen. Maybe something will happen and the plane will break down.
You're putting way too much importance on the pawns.
I know, exactly, and that's what Moffat did. Moffat puts too much importance on the companions and not the Doctor. That's what Patrick said, and he's right.
Are you totally whacked out like I am right now listening to this conversation?
I've destroyed my fan base.
Wow.
I'm loving this.
I feel like we're proving our geek membership in this.
We are.
Talking about dissecting the frog a little too much.
Here's my take on River Song, which is highly unpopular, especially among the female fans. No offense, Patricia, but
I did not have to say. Go ahead.
I did not care for River Song at all for one primary reason, where the writing team was so in love with her and wanted to put her up on this higher status pedestal that when she was on screen, it was like watching Speed Racer when Racer X walked in. You didn't give a crap about Speed Racer anymore. It was all about River Song, who is, for all intents and purposes, the Racer X of the Doctor Who mythology. And
my God, that is genius. That is genius.
Great.
Patrick, can I borrow that?
Absolutely.
Can I borrow that? Oh my God.
Let the macros and the memes flow.
Oh, that's
I just wish I got that reference.
Oh my God.
I really wish I got that reference. I'm going to have to go back and maybe actually watch Speed Racer to find out what.
Speed Racer. Go Speed Racer.
It's a lot of fun. You only need to watch about 2 episodes. It's all the same thing. It was like it's a crazy whacked out like pro wrestling world involving racing cars. Although people get blown up and shot all the time, and Jim and Spritle hide in the back seat.
Well,
yeah.
Let's go hide in Cheat Speed's trunk again.
But hold on, Patrick. See, yeah, people get blown up and die, but except in the American dub where they animated in like stars and stuff to say, it's okay, he's just knocked out. They're still alive!
Well, that was like in when Gatchaman was turned into Battle of the Planets, and people get blown up at the end, and then 7 Zark 7, which was added in the American version, would always say, fortunately, he ejected the last minute. We weren't going to shoot you, I'm just telling you it.
Did you ever catch Voltron?
Very infrequently. I thought it was a poor man's Gatchaman, whatever, and I
agree. I never watched Voltron.
Because with Voltron, they kind of did the same thing, where they transformed all the bad guys were robots.
Yeah, even if they weren't, right?
Yeah, so of course if they blow up, it's just, it's robots blowing up, so it's fine.
Oh yeah, that's fine.
It's okay, kid. It's okay, kid. They were robots.
Do you remember Thundar the Barbarian?
Oh, are you kidding? I've got his action figures on my Geek Wall shelf. Are you?
That was a great thing. And they
Lords of Light.
They couldn't kill. They had robots so they could destroy the robots, rip the robots apart. People couldn't die because of the American television system.
Well, no, but see, at least Thundar was actually made by.
It was an American show.
It's an American show.
Yeah.
The thing that Patrick and I have been talking about, all these animes.
Oh no, I know. They changed them. They added scenes.
Yeah, exactly. It's one of those things where you have dialogue, you have dialogue to indicate that a person's alive, or they do stuff to make sure it's like, nope, those are robots.
You know how I understand that? Do you remember? Do you remember the A-Team? Of course, you remember the A-Team. Every time. By the way,
I just want to remind everybody that.
Yeah, all right. Okay.
I just want to remind everybody and thank them for coming to a Doctor Who podcast that we've just gone across the fandom universe. Spend 5 minutes on Doctor Who, but
curiously enough, I will say this much about A-Team. It's like I remember the 2-hour premiere and loving the hell out of it. By the 3rd episode, where the bad guy's helicopter crashed on the side of a mountain and came careening down, and then they came stumbling out. That's when I was done. That's when I was done. I was just like, wait a minute, no.
Couldn't kill people and that was live action, and they couldn't kill people. It was ridiculous, and they made that a part of the 5th series when they went to court martial. They were like, yeah, we did that, but we never actually killed anybody. Yeah, that's why they always shot. They shoot. They must be expert marksmen because they can shoot all over the place and get close to the people, but never actually hit them. They've never hit them.
They were special forces. Yeah. They were special forces, so there may have been some marksmanship training.
If they were so special, why didn't they work for UNIT?
Exactly. And now we are bringing it back to Doctor Who.
Doctor Who. And actually, you know what? And speaking of, getting back to, okay, now that we're back in Doctor Who, and now that we're getting to companions, okay, Patrick, I'm going to put you on the spot here.
Go ahead.
I'm going to put you on the spot because, see, okay, something that I'm a little disappointed in the podcast fandom. Okay, I'm a little disappointed because I put up a very special, Happy Mother's Day image, okay, up on the website. I shared it and I shared the link to Facebook. Okay, it was a very special Happy Mother's Day thing.
I believe I saw that one.
You believe you saw that one? Okay. Here's the thing. I said to people, hey, anybody wanna take a guess as to all the moms in the image? I'll even give you a shout out on the podcast. You'll hear your name and you'll get a thumbs up. And nobody jumped in. And I look at the banner and I'm like, I don't know of anybody who should have a problem with this. There was probably maybe only one or two characters that they'd have a problem recognizing. So I'm gonna put you on the spot. Okay, you get to have the shout out that nobody else gets to have because they didn't bother looking. Okay, I'm gonna give you. Okay, you said you saw the image, right?
Yeah, I may have to go back and look at it.
Okay, well,
again.
Fortunately, I just sent the
He sent the link via our special podcast mail.
Okay, the podcast PM. Can you correctly identify, going from left to right, can you correctly identify all the moms in the image?
Okay, well, of course, you got Amy, Joe Grant.
Yes.
The queen of the scream, the best screamer that we ever had in the Doctor Who mythology, and Miss Bubbly, and the nude pictures of her with the Dalek are still a national treasure.
Oh yeah.
Oh my!
I love that picture.
Okay, I think we know who's on the top of his MILF list now.
Yeah.
Sarah Jane.
Yes.
Who is, in my opinion, all around the greatest companion in Doctor Who mythology. Still.
Okay, that's it. Patrick is our best guest ever.
Best guest ever.
Best guest ever, right there.
Shout out.
Okay, and I'm not saying that because she was my first. I actually think technically my first may have been Leela. But it's Sarah Jane. When she passed away, that was the first time in my entire life that I ever cried at the passing of a celebrity.
Oh, yeah.
And
I was misty-eyed myself, man.
Yeah, and of course there were some lovely fan dedications on YouTube, and I thought I can handle this, and I was blubbering. So, and the amazing thing about her too was that I was convinced that when Davies brought her back for that return episode, I think they just intended, all right, we'll just have this sort of one-off, and this will be a bone we'll throw the old fans, and that'll be that. And I think everybody was just so taken with her, the fact that she could still act. She looked great. Her on-screen presence was fantastic. I think everybody has fell in love with her and said, we have got to do more with her, absolutely. Yeah. And I wish they had carried that on further on. And it's unfortunate. But
Sarah Jane Adventures was a great show. I loved it. It was aimed for children, but it was great. Because Doctor Who at one point was supposedly aimed for children. Sarah Jane was a good show.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay, so number 4. Who's number 4?
That is what's her face's mom. I haven't had my coffee yet. I don't want to say, oh, yeah, that's the black companion's mom.
Oh, you just did.
Yeah, I just did, yeah. Well, I can't call her African-American because she's British, and I'm not sure if African-British is the correct term.
Okay, that's fine.
All right,
that is a good question.
So it was the companion...
The companion you're thinking of...
oh, Lord. I know her name because...
Starts with an M.
Mel.
No, but yay, but no.
Have some carrot juice. Oh, cute.
Oh, that was Bonnie Langford. She was not. No.
She's kind of one of the on the low
but that was classic series. We're talking this picture's new series. People can't. It's Martha's mom.
Martha, yes, of course.
Okay, so who's the 5th picture?
Oh, she's Torchwood. She doesn't count.
Oh, she was on Doctor Who.
She guested on Doctor Who.
She's Torchwood. She doesn't count.
No, okay. No. Her Torchwood character guested on Doctor Who. She counts. So come on. No. Okay, no, trying to back out. Come on, who is she?
She.
I guess we should ask. Have you watched Torchwood?
Yes, I have infrequently. I watched through the first season until the episode where they released the demon thing that would kill people with their shadows. And I thought these people are a bunch of rather uncaring bastards. And I was really hoping that when Jack emerged, found out what he did, he would fire them all for the horrible thing they had done. But instead, he was like, "Oh, you guys," and he gave them noogies. And I'll be honest, I thought it was indicative of, again, Russell T Davies being kind of a callous writer, putting needs of characters ahead of a sense of morality that Doctor Who was supposed to have. So I was done. I never really looked back. I've heard Children of Man is supposed to be awesome and everything else, and I love John Barrowman. I love John Barrowman as much as my straightness will allow me to love him. And
I'm there too.
Torchwood just didn't click with me. I like the concept, but I just can't take it further after that incident.
Okay, so
does Gwen. So let's go back bottom left.
Okay, so that's what two. So that's what three out of 10 so far that he's gotten.
3 out of 5 because we're only up through 5.
Right. But I'm saying 10 total. So 3 out of 5 so far. Okay. So
bottom left.
Bottom left.
Yeah. Bottom left. That is the love interest from King Ralph, a very movie, and
I'll take that as an answer. Actually, that he knows King Ralph.
I will say this much: the way everybody worships Rose way too much, in my opinion. If you want to talk about, we want to do some Rose bashing, I am all in. But I will say this much: that metaphor I used about Racer X and everything else. When Rose's mom was in the room, she was the only thing I was looking at.
And he got number 4. He got 4. He's 4. He's got the 4th one. Rose's mom, Jackie Tyler.
Yeah.
So Camille is
going for Jackie Tyler.
Camille was hot.
Oh Lord.
She's.
I don't know, man. I'm thinking
you get older.
I'm 44, so I'm staying in my range.
Okay, so next number 6.
Number 6.
No, that was number 7.
Or is that number 7?
Sorry.
No, that was 6. So we're up to 7.
Number 7. Okay.
I've completely forgotten her. Wait, is that? No, I got to take a pass on that one.
I can't remember her name either, but she's
that's
the mom from the Doctor, the Widow, and the Wardrobe, the Christmas special.
Oh, good, great. Yeah. Okay.
Okay, number 8.
And you know what? And I'm willing to be nice because I recognized the character, but I had to go to Wikipedia to get the name when I was doing the banner. So
number 8.
That's Donna's mom, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yes.
Now let's take a break here for a minute. Donna. Okay, Catherine Tate, comedian, comes into Doctor Who. What are your thoughts on Catherine Tate as Donna?
She was probably the greatest modern companion that the show has seen so far. I think I love the fact that she played it smart. Not to dismiss the New Who fans, but all the smart girl fans that kind of proliferated into Doctor Who with the New Who mythology, they gravitated towards her, and she was the companion I think we could all get behind. And yes, it's tragic what happened to her and everything else, but I love the fact that she was not afraid to call out the Doctor on things that none of the other ones did. She's like, "Oh, is this what you do? Just go around the universe and just make fun of people, And he had no answer for her, and she was great. She really was. Her action figure has a place of honor next to my Sarah Jane. And I loved her parents too. I loved that her dad was the catalyst for Tennant's departure. I adored the fact that
that was her granddad.
Granddad, okay, yeah,
Granddad, yes,
yeah, who of course was in the Dalek, movie as well.
Yes,
I could be an OBE after this.
Dalek Invasion Earth 21.
As I like to call that character, Earth 2 Wilf.
That's pretty good. That's a good metaphor, actually. Yeah.
He understand. Yeah, okay, he just. Well, there you go. Patrick once again proved that he's in the right line of work. I said Earth 2, and
so what's this about Earth 2 going to war with Prime Earth? I'm sorry.
I don't know. I'm not following DC right now. I'm
not either.
52,
I don't know.
So
DC the 52 really boils down to this. For 20 years or so, we've all been on this partying bus with DC, and they told all of us to get up and go to the back of the bus because they're going to redecorate it, and they're driving by the colleges trying to get all these new kids on it. And instead of going to the back of the bus, I just got off.
Yeah, so did I.
Pretty much.
So did I.
Yeah.
I was following Green Lantern, but once Jeff Johns left, I was like, you know what? I'm done too.
And for our fans who have forgotten that this is a Doctor Who podcast, just a reminder, this is a Doctor Who podcast. We are on with the Geek of Comedy, Patrick Hawkins, who is a geek. and he's a comedy, and he's cool.
And he's showing it.
And
by the way, he needs to see if he can recognize Mom Number 9. We haven't even.
Oh, Mom Number 9.
Yeah, Mom Number 9. Come on.
I forgot her name, but it's the "Are You My Mummy?"
Mummy?
That was a two-parter. That ended
Nancy.
With, Nancy. Yeah, that ended with.
So I think we'll. Yeah.
We'll give that to you.
Yeah.
Which actually, the Dr. Dances is probably my favorite of the Davies Eccleston period, just by virtue of the fact that nobody died. And
I know, that was amazing. Yeah. That was amazing. Everybody lived.
And I think it was one of the few times that I think Eccleston was mildly enjoying what he was doing, because he sure as hell didn't seem to be for the rest of his tenure.
No. Well, he was upset because of John Hurt, or should I say William Hurt? No.
All right.
William Hurt was a doctor.
It hurts. And number 10.
That's the spooky little lady from her eyes eventually get glazed over. I have her action figure. They never gave her a name, or if they did. Yeah, I know. I'm sorry. That was
okay, give her other character's name. Give her other famous character's name.
Christian. Okay, no. Okay, Christian. Bad Christian. Bad Christian. You were supposed to be guessing. Bad Christian. Bad Christian.
Our fans are already like spinning around with Voltron and stuff like that. And like, can we get to the Doctor Who parts, please?
But Patrick, number 10.
I'll take a pass on that. I'm just not recalling it. I mean, I could cheat right now on the computer. I could probably Google it in 30 seconds, but that would be disingenuous to all the fine Doctor Who fans out there that are twisting in fury. Said this guy is on the show and he doesn't know that character.
Yeah, okay. Well, you know what? Well, okay. As for the people who are ragging right now, don't rag on him. He's being honest. He's not cheating with Wikipedia or Google, so I say I applaud, sir. But that is Miss Gillyflower, played by the wonderful Dame Diana Rigg.
Emma Peel,
and more recently, Lady Olenna on Game of Thrones.
That is correct.
I mean, do you remember when we recorded the Crimson Horror and I had like a picture of Miss Gillyflower and Lady Olenna together, and I was like, this is a great time to be a geek.
It is.
We have Dame Diana Rigg on 2 different things at the same time.
Ed, you're missing one. You're missing a mom who was a companion. Okay,
which mom was I? Did I miss from the? Did I not put on the banner?
She was in the specials for Tennant's last season. And she does. I think she qualifies as a mom because she was.
Are you talking about the lady from Waters of Mars?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
she's a mom.
We can't put everybody up there.
In
that case, I'm gonna call shenanigans too. You should have Davros up there because
the brother of all Daleks.
No,
yeah.
I'm gonna
save that for Father's Day.
Maybe I'll save. Okay. I'm probably gonna save Davros for Father's Day.
Okay.
Father's Day. I want to see his handbag and see if it matches his shoes.
All right. Yeah. We've been straying from Doctor Who. We're gonna come back we're gonna go to a commercial break. When we come back, we are going to talk Doctor Who with Patrick Hawkins. We'll be right back.
Please do. Let's talk about Davros because
we will.
That's one of my all-time favorite scenes. I like to share.
To answer Christian's question, but the reason why the lady from Waters of Mars is not on there is because I only had space for 10, and those were the first 10 I could get a hold of. So
we'll be right back.
Hello, I'm Simon Fisherbecker, known to many of you as Dorian Moldovar from Doctor Who, and you're listening to Mark Who 42.
We Decepticons now face our darkest hour.
Yes, that's right, Megatron, because we are announcing that the GCRN is bringing everyone Transformers Prime Time. That's right, before we get to TFG1 redone, we enter the Prime Universe. Join your hosts, TFG1 Mike, Steve Megatron, Optimus Solo, and Peacock Court Michael, as they cover all 65 episodes of Transformers Prime, the comics, the toys, and more. We will also have a commentary on Predacons Rising, interviews with writers, voice actors, and so much more, all in the latest Transformers review podcast from the Geekcast Radio Network. You can find TF Primetime on iTunes and www.geekcast-radio.com.
Transform and roll out!
Pixels in the Animation is the Geekcast Radio Network's video game cartoon review show. We are covering every episode of 9 different video game cartoons. Join TV's Mr. Neil and myself, TFG and Mike, as we trek through multiple Mario tunes, Zelda, Captain N, Mega Man, Sonic, and we are also driving through Donkey Kong Country. Pixels in the Animation is 100 episodes of video game cartoon goodness, so tune in to help us find the Pixels in the Animation, which you can find every Wednesday on iTunes and www.geekcast-radio.com.
And we're back with more of Mark Who 42's Whoniverse, Doctor Who Whoniverse, that is. I'm Mark Baumgarten, and with me are Eduardo-m-Freyre, Trish-helm, christian-basel, and our special guest from the Geeks of Comedy, Patrick Hawkins.
Hey, everybody.
All right, Patrick, we said we'd talk in this segment all about Doctor Who, because we kind of strayed from Doctor Who. We were going all over geekdom.
And I think we're going to again, but let's press on.
No, okay. So, classic or new? New Who. Which are you? Classic or New Who? Which are you more a fan of?
Well, I'm gonna have to say classic, and I don't mean to sound from an old man grumpus or whatever. And even though a good chunk of my geek stand-up when I talk about Doctor Who is about the old fans versus the new fans, there's one beautiful thing in the fact that the continuity is bridged and it's all one thing. When I heard they were going to legitimately bring it back, I thought, well, for sure, they're going to break away. It's going to be a brand new start. And when they said it was going to be in line, and they even said that, like number 8 would be a recognized part of the continuity, I was like, okay, well, I'm in. Because, again, the nice thing is that, it's all one thing. And it's going to go up and it's going to go down. And you're going to have doctors that you hate. You're going to have companions that you love. And it changes. And if there's something that's great, enjoy it while you got it. And if it changes to something you don't like, then just hold on, because it will eventually turn into something that you will like.
First Doctor. Who is your doctor?
Who's my doctor or my first doctor?
Usually they're the same thing. But...
They're not for me, actually.
Oh, okay.
Okay, my first doctor is number 4, Tom Baker, of course, because I'm an American fan, and that's I would be very suspicious of anybody that said, yeah, my first doctor was number 2. Like, what? Were you living in England as a kid or something? I don't know. But my doctor. And I've said this before, if I'm being chased by a papier-mâché bug-eyed monster and it's screaming for my blood, and I turn around the corner and I bump into a big giant blue box and I'm beating on it and I'm saying, please help me, that thing's out to get me, and the door opens, I want number 3 to be the one that says, what seems to be the trouble?
You want Pertwee.
I want Pertwee because I do think he was the kick-ass doctor. I think he was the quintessential doctor. He was the gentleman. He had just amount of tweaks and eccentricities, and that Quentin crisp, pompadour 60s pop look to him. And yes, Venusian karate, sonic screwdriver kick. And it's funny too, because whenever there's a capsulized review of Pertwee, it's always, very James Bondian. It's like,
the name is Doctor.
He had nothing to do with James Bond. That is an absolute canard when it comes to comparisons. As he was nothing like anything of the Doctor. Maybe slightly gadgety with the gyrocopters and stuff like that, but no, he was cyberpunk long before cyberpunk was cool.
I think actually the reason they come up with James Bond is probably because of, number 1, the gadgets, and number 2, the fact he was hanging out with UNIT.
Yes, I would agree with that. And I adored the notion of being kind of semi-marooned on Earth, and the ongoing arc of him constantly tinkering with the TARDIS, getting it back to work again, working for UNIT. I would love to see another season like that, where maybe just doesn't have the TARDIS or anything like that. I would love to see Capaldi do a season where he's kind of stuck on Earth and maybe can do little jumps and that's it. I think that would open it up, especially now, because back then I know the head of the writing team was like, okay, well, if you're going to do this, you only got 2 plots, mad scientist and aliens invading. And I think based on that, they milked quite a lot out of his Earthbound years, and it gave us the Master.
I don't want to disagree with you, Patrick. I kind of get it. There's no relation, there's no comparison to that, but I do see some similarities, like when Bond would walk into the room, his presence alone just garnished attention. Everybody was looking at him. Everybody wanted to see what he was doing when he walked into the room.
I would definitely concur that.
And the second one, I think, is also, just like the Doctor, they were 4 steps ahead of everybody who was in the room. Like the doctor knew exactly. He knew, where all the exits were, just like in the Asylum of the Daleks. He knew everything. He was plotting, and he was plotting his escape. He knew exactly what was going on before he started doing everything to make sure. So that's where I see there are similarities. Yeah, James Bond. Yeah, there is no comparison to the Doctor, but there are similarities, and I can see why people would use that comparison, especially during that time. But that's just my opinion there.
Yeah, so if I'm being chased by a monster, I won't want to Burt Wee. If I want to go to a jazz club, then I want to be with Sylvester McCoy.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
If I'm at a museum, then I want to be with number one. There's various criterias that I think, this doctor would be great for this thing,
what would 4 be great for?
4 would be nice to bump into at an antique bookshop.
Wow.
Because he could probably tell you what some great ones to read that you've never read before.
He probably knows the author.
Probably, yeah. He probably flipped through it and be all like, "Oh no, I told you not to do it like that, don't I?" Yeah.
Just for giggles, what would you do with 6?
Take him clothes shopping.
Dumper question.
You know what? That's almost null and void. The question is, what would 6 ever want to do with me? And I can't think of any damn thing.
Except yell at you.
I know. I just feel like, I bump into him somewhere and be like, "Oh, excuse me," and it's just like, "What do you want?" Well, nothing. I was just walking by. Well, then I suggest you get along with it, shouldn't you? I gotta go now.
Yeah. Well, no. If using the analogy you said, if you're being chased by a monster and you run into the blue box, if 6 is behind the door, his response would probably be like, "Will you stop with that infernal banging?"
Probably, and then he would look out at me and look at the monster as, "You're on your own." Shut the door. Then he would open up again and be like, "Oh, all right, get in." It's funny because again, Colin gets a really, really bad rap, and I think now people are kind of looking back and maybe giving him a second chance. I could be wrong.
The audios are amazing that he does.
I have listened to 1 or 2 of them, and I really think so. I just think that he was the tail end of the John Nathan Turner period, and John Nathan Turner was like Michael Eisner for Disney. He started out really solid, but I think he just kind of held on too long and kind of let his own proclivities kind of melt into it too much.
I'm just liking that comparison. That is the perfect comparison.
That is great, yeah.
Man, oh wow.
Couldn't agree more.
Damn.
I saved it. Now let me take it in a direction that shouldn't go.
Well, he was very in love with being a celebrity. I remember. Did anybody ever go to the old Omnicons in South Florida?
I used to help run them.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, then you probably met him then.
Yes.
And he just loved being a kind of semi-celebrity, didn't he? Just loved having everybody kind of kiss his ass. And that's really not what a producer does.
I went on the first Doctor Who sea cruise that they did in 1988. So I spent a week with John Nathan Turner.
And he survived.
Oh, what a story.
Did he hit on you? Or boyfriend?
Gary was there. Was there.
Good.
We had Nick Courtney and we had Sylvester, and his wife was on the cruise too. So it was a great cruise. But yeah, the Omnicons were amazing, and John did get involved. We always got new episodes that hadn't been shown in America yet.
I remember
he was able to bring them because
I remember that's where I first saw Earthshock.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
What an episode to see when it hadn't been out yet. It's like, oh, this is interesting. They killed Adric? Oh,
I was shouting. I was dancing in my seat when
Mark does not like Adric.
I don't like Adric.
Doesn't like Adric.
I don't like Adric. What are your thoughts on Adric?
Oh God.
Adric was really more of a Deus Ex Machina, just being his whole, I'm really good at math, and again he kind of cut away. To be honest, I like most Who fans, I hated Peter Davison for a very long time, and I hated him. I hated him incorrectly. I hated him because he wasn't Tom. Remember, this was my first change,
right?
And your first change, you always hate the doctor that took away your doctor. And over the years, I realized it was wrong for me to hate Peter Davison because he replaced Tom Baker. I will dislike Peter Davison because I thought he was a crappy doctor. But even then, though, actually, he's kind of come around a little bit. To me, he was always kind of rolling his eyes, kind of like Eccleston. I just kind of felt he seemed uncomfortable with it, and he just sort of seemed like he wasn't into it. And when you're an actor, you kind of need to be into it just a tad bit. You could fake the rest, but if there's not that initial spark, it can show. It really can.
Patrick, I can relate to that because I guess like you and me, we both grew up PBS.
Yes,
and that's all I knew about Doctor Who is what PBS showed. So when Logopolis hit, it started all over again. I thought, oh, that's the end of the series. This is all Tom Baker. Then they finally revealed, and I mentioned this in past episodes, that Peter Davison. Then they started watching him like, where's the zestiness? Where's the scarf? Where's all this funniness? Where's the bug eyes? What is this? So same reason I hated Peter Davison.
I can feel
reason.
You on the actor part because that's my day job when I'm not recording this. I do a little bit of acting, and I've done a lot of extra work. And even when you're just walking in the background, you still have to commit.
Yeah.
Whatever. No matter how small the part, it still has to sell.
And it was a bad storm too, because back on the Adric thing, also, I thought he had 3 companions, and none of them were really sort of catching. Nyssa was a non-entity. Tegan was an absolute shrew. I almost thought later on, I kind of realized, is she supposed to be like a satire of Australians? Is she basically like, okay, we're going to have an Australian, companion, and she's going to be awful and screechy, just like other Australians.
And Turlo ran his course, so let's lock him up on every episode.
Turlo had such potential, and
he did.
He would be somebody I would love to see brought back in some form or another.
I've actually said I wouldn't mind seeing Tegan brought back for a guest shot, if only because it looked like she was having such a bad time.
She still says so. She in interviews, she always comes across as just a big chip on her shoulder. And
right. But I'm saying also that the character herself.
True.
Seems like she didn't have as much of a good time. So it's like, I said this before in earlier episodes, that it's easy to have Sarah Jane come back. It's easy to have Joe Grant come back and be like, oh, yay, the Doctor, I miss him. But, what happens if, the blue box shows up in Tegan's backyard? What's her reaction going to be? Is she going to be like, oh, the Doctor? Is she going to be like, oh, no.
She's going to lock up her children and be like, don't go anywhere near that thing.
For me, I think that would be an interesting thing, somebody.
What? Absolutely, you're right. She would be interesting. She would be the companion that just says, turn around, get back in your little, thing there, and go
what's going to happen now?
Who's
going to die? What's going to blow up? What catastrophe is going to come, and why is it in my backyard?
Kind of that perspective of the New Who has this predicates this theory that all the companions were secretly in love with the Doctor, and
except for Donna.
Yeah.
Donna was not.
But the idea
was Rory? I don't know. Was Rory in love with the Doctor?
I think so.
Well,
I didn't see any.
There is to be
I think it was kind of a more jealousy thing. It's like, can you please stop being so awesome in front of my wife?
Yeah, well, same thing with Mickey. I mean, Mickey.
Oh, Mickey, he's so fine. He's so fine. Okay.
But
Mark's got a man crush on Mickey.
No.
Mark's got a man crush on Mickey. It's too late.
Well, you have a man crush on Adric, so give me a break. And Adric was a child.
Adric was a throwaway character. I always thought, okay, he's going to be in one episode and then that's it. And I'll say this much: when he got killed off, it was pretty stark. I mean, even the end credits, when there was no music or anything, and just his shattered little badge or whatever. That was a pretty bold moment in Who history. Whether you danced for joy or you were upset, that was pretty much I think that was John Nathan Turner's defining moment, and Davidson's as well. And especially I forget the story right after Earthshock, but the girls are screaming at him, well, can't you just go back in time and save him? And he's evading the issue. He's like, look, I can't. And he just kind of just leaves it at that. There's no...
That was Time Flight.
Was it Time Flight?
It was Time Flight. And in Time Flight, Adric, because Matthew Waterhouse was actually had a contract to be in the entire season.
That's right. He was
He shows up as a ghost. Wait,
he's still wearing his badge. And
he was still wearing his badge. How could he wear his badge if it didn't make sense?
And then the Master disguised as the Fu Manchu with the gross
what
running.
Was that about? Why did he even need to disguise himself as the Fu Manchu?
Not only that, what was that runny nose thing he had at the end? He's on the ground and all this green goo is coming out of his nose. I was just like, what the F is going on here?
I think as far as Adric and Master, what has to take the cake is Davidson's regeneration, where you have the floating images of all the companions.
Yes.
Doing the whole "Don't die, Doctor, you mustn't die," and then the Master just taking the whole screen and going, "No, you must die, Doctor, die, Doctor."
That was pretty cool for its time. I kind of like that because that kind of entrenched the Master as always being kind of on the Doctor's mind, and it wasn't like he saw like the Daleks or the Cybermen, saying die. It was him. But again, too, Anthony Ainley and Davidson, they were trying to recapture the whole Pertwee thing, and I don't think that they did, but I give them credit for trying. I just wish it wasn't just consistent that it's the Master, then it's the Master again, then somebody else, then it's the Master again. He's good for 2 story arcs per season. That's it.
Okay. Now speaking of the Davison regeneration, we have to look deeper into the shot.
God! Remember we have a female co-host here.
I know what you're going to say, and I agree. Chameleon was incredibly underused. What a wasted opportunity. I feel you, man. I absolutely do. No, we are bros. We should hang out, man.
Oh, Nicola, why does he vex me so? Perry! What did you think of the stereotypical American Perry? Perfect Gilliam Brown.
Well, she was a ditz, no doubt about that. She was kind of that. I think they were going for like that old screwball comedy girl that kind of like the blonde Snoop that ends up in the machinations of the Private Eye and all that stuff. And I don't think that was necessarily bad. I definitely think her boobs had a lot to do with her too. And let's face it.
Yeah.
Am I the only one who could pause on my VCR and start throwing envelopes at the screen hoping they would stick?
Yes.
Okay, go in the corner, Christian. Christian, corner.
Yes,
go.
You are.
Go, Christian.
Honestly,
by the way, Christian, tell your wife I said hello.
Yeah, I think so.
To be entirely,
if she's listening, hi, Christian's wife. How you doing?
To be entirely honest, when I think of Perry, I think of 2 things. That came out wrong.
Yes, it did. It did.
But here's the dumb thing. The 2 things I think of are related and probably even more salacious. I think of the last thing we saw her being like with her shaved head and with the amphibian guy's brain, and then Brian Blessed killing her, and then kind of retconning her and ending up with Brian Blessed by using some stock footage saying, oh, it was the 7 Sark 7 thing, saying, oh, no, don't worry, they had a happy ending. I think, no, she was dead. It was just that thing using her body, and that was it. So, yeah, I think of Perry. I think of her head shaved. And the other thing I think of Perry is I think of her early publicity pictures of her wearing a revealing top and a bikini bottom, and those are the days before Photoshop, so you could see a lot of razor burn in her nether regions.
And actually, it's funny you should bring up. Her exit, because I've always thought, another companion that I like to see back is Perry. If anything, just to cement, is she alive or not? What happened?
I'm all for that, because if they bring her back, then they must bring back Brian Blessed, and I will watch anything with Brian Blessed.
Hell yeah!
Did you watch Wizards vs. Alien? The RTD series that was on after Sarah Jane was over?
No, actually.
Brian Blessed's voice. He's the main villain. Just his voice. He's this big alien, and it's like a set. He's like a wall, kind of like Cassandra being the last human, being just a slice of skin. He's like on the wall of the spaceship, but Brian Blessed's voice, God love him, is just all throughout that show.
Have you guys ever talked about the British show Have I Got News for You?
Love the show. We have not talked about it, no.
Oh, well, it's actually pretty interesting, because Tom Baker did host an episode.
I did see that one. I see that one. I do remember Tom Baker being all giddy about the fact that his action figure had a spare head.
Yeah. Well, he materializes on the screen. He's like, hello, I used to be John Pertwee. But for those of you who may not know about the show, it's a combination of Saturday Night Live and The Daily Show. They have a guest host who is like host and moderator. They have real politicians and real like journalists on one side, and they have British comedians on the other side, and they just talk about like news of the week, and everybody comments on it. Brian Blessed did an episode, and it's absolutely maybe one of the funniest 22 minutes I've ever heard in my life, because he just hams it up and he just goes absolutely crazy. And but yeah, it's snippets of it on YouTube. The Tom Baker one is especially funny as well, because again, it's Tom Baker, right?
Yeah.
The man can read the phone book and we'd laugh.
I would.
Here's another chin.
Speaking of reading the phone book, the actor Mark Strong, right?
Yes.
He was in Green Lantern, and he did the first Sherlock Holmes movie. I don't know. He has such a great evil voice. I've said it before. He could be ordering Chinese, and it would still sound evil.
I would go with that, absolutely.
I mean, you could just imagine him going. Yes, and I'd like a quart of the fried rice. Yes, and I'll take the Mugu Gai Pan.
Okay, now pick up our delivery.
Yes, I'd like to delivery. I'll be paying by cash.
We never had an Asian. No, that's not true. The gangbanger kid from the Fox movie.
Oh,
he counts as a companion. Yeah. Everybody forgets about him because he kissed the girl in that one. I was like, oh, he's kissing a girl. The doctor doesn't do that. It's over.
He kissed a girl. And he liked it.
Right.
This is the only Katy Perry joke I will do ever on the show.
So, Patrick, I promised you last segment I'd let you talk about Davros. We're getting close to the end of the interview, so definitely. What about Davros? What words do you have to tell us about him?
Davros, to me, is the greatest Doctor Who villain of all time. I love that, for all intents and purposes, that he not only created the Daleks, but the insinuation that Skaro is just a little pissant backwater world that just had a little petty war between two indigenous peoples, and it led to the creation of something that will create the ultimate genocide of the galaxy. My single favorite scene of all time, of all Doctor Who, is Davros interrogating the Doctor, and when they're done, and he asks the Doctor, stay a while. This Doctor as prisoner and captor, but as men of science. And God bless the actor in that, because he, for the first time in Davros's life, he has met somebody who is a peer, and he just wants to geek out about science with the Doctor. He wants to squeeze his brain about everything, but it's so wonderful to see him and the conversation they had. And the Doctor is legitimately into it as well. He actually wants to talk to him, and the idea of, the philosophical things and him defending the Daleks. Evil? No, I will not accept that, and then he gets the megalomania about the virus that will destroy everything. And correct me if I'm wrong, I think in one of the audio adventures, he actually does that.
Yes, he does.
He says, you gave me the idea for this. Ha 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 ha. So, okay, whatever. But yeah, that to me is it. I just love the idea of this decrepit, malicious thing whose ego has been the one thing that's been keeping him alive all this time. And I again, I'm not a huge fan of the audio adventures, but Davros, especially the first one, I think is brilliant. If for any reason the beginning intro when the Daleks have him on trial and he's just yelling at them, it's like, you were created to be the ultimate power in the universe, and it's just great earthy, unrepentant villainy, and you just don't see that anymore. You don't see it done right, at least anyway. So yeah, that's my Davros thing that I like to geek out about.
I actually have one. I have one last geek related question for you.
Lay it on me.
Okay, you're a geek comedian. Your comedy is for the geek. So here's my question. Okay, what is the most obscure reference you have ever dropped?
Oh, boy. See, I'm trying to think. There's stuff that I've wanted to drop, but I'm trying to think of what I've actually done and gotten laughs. Oh, the most obscure thing I did was I talk about being a Doctor Who fan 30 years ago, and I have a chunk about how Doctor Who, you have no idea what it was like back then. We got beat up by Trek fans, Doctor Who fans. And then I talk about the only person lower in the convention fandom than a Doctor Who fan was the one middle-aged weirdo who was like the world's oldest Richie Rich fan. And then I say, only because Harry Potter hadn't been invented yet. And then I lead into a brony joke. But then I say, oh, by the way, guys, we had bronies in the 80s. They were called Elfquest fans.
Elfquest.
And I think that is the deepest thing I gone, and like 3 guys in the back cracked up, and everybody else was kind of okay. And but you know what? Those 3 guys laughing made it worthwhile. Mostly because it was the owners of Coliseum of Comics.
I worked at a comic store back in the 80s.
They definitely appreciate it as well. So what store did you work at?
Superheroes Unlimited down here in South Florida.
Okay, I worked at Comic Exchange for a couple of years.
I know Comic Exchange very well. Or knew Comic Exchange very well, should I say?
Yeah, well, and Gallo and Past, Present, Future, but that's another podcast.
Yeah. So, Patrick, I want to thank you very much for stopping by. Can you give us a plug for your Geeks of Comedy? What's your next?
Our next thing on the docket is at the end of this month at the Spooky Empire convention. We are the horror convention here in Orlando. We are going to do a comedy gore show. This is going to be a little different from our usual sort of arsenal as it is. We're going to have regular stand up again, going into the geek horror world, which is extremely specialized, but I'm really psyched about that. And we're going to experiment with an improv group. Actually, we've got some of our friends at SAC Comedy Lab. They're assembling a group, and we're going to do a long form improv of we're going to make up a horror movie based on audience suggestions, and really kind of excited about that. And we've got a great host, Graham Murphy, who plays Gorzo the Klingon Clown. Is going to be debuting a new character. It's going to be very reminiscent of the late night horror hosts. And I'm a big fan of the classics 60s 70s horror host archetype. Oh yeah. And I think it's going to be really a lot of fun. And we're gonna be splattering the stage, and it's just going to go balls out. So it's going to be a cool experiment, and I'm really hoping that just be one more thing to do. Then after that, we're still on the docket for Tampa Bay Comic-Con and Nerdfest at the end of summer. So, and also I'm working on a couple of dates in between now and then. So yeah, your fans hit us up on Geeks Comedy. We got a little Facebook pagey there, and that's it. And hey guys, thank you so much for letting me sit on. And this has been an absolute treat. It's hard to find Doctor Who fans that are willing to sit down and encompass both sides of the equation. You see the old man Crumpusy, like, everything for me died, when John Nathan Turner left, and as opposed to everything began with Matt Smith, my theory about modern Doctor Who fandom and especially the David Tennant, Matt Smith tastes great, less filling dichotomy, right?
No, I never heard it.
Okay, it's very, very simple. The new Who fans, they hate the Doctor that they don't want to sleep with.
Okay. Now, thanks to you, there's 2 things I like about Perry now.
Hey!
Oh, God. Oh,
there have always been 2 things I've liked about Perry. So
I can't get the envelopes out of my TV now.
Oh, no. Okay, and on that note, thank you very much, Patrick Hawkins, Geeks of Comedy, for coming on our show. This is Mark Baumgarten, along with Trish-helm, Eduardo-m-Freyre, and Christian-basel. You can check us out. Check out our website, markwho42.net. Look at our Facebook page, WHOniverse. Tweet us at markwho42. Listen to us. I know you're listening to us now, but if you want to listen to any of our old shows, go to iTunes, go to Stitcher Radio app, go to Podkicker, go to geekcast-radio.com, go to florida-geek-scene.com. We are everywhere around the net. Any final words?
Directly to our website. We have a website.
I said the website, markwho42.net. 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 Go to markwho42.net. Any last words, guys?
Patrick, I have a dare for you.
Lay it on me.
Oh, boy.
I have a dare for you. One of the next times you're on stage, drop a reference to Megaforce. See how many people understand Megaforce.
Wow. Oh, challenge accepted.
Okay, and let me know. Let me know. Either track me down on Facebook or go to the podcast Facebook page and drop us a message.
You need to understand, I'm a big Hal Needham fan, so I love all the movies he's made. And okay, all right.
I dare you. I dare you. One of the times you're on stage, drop a Megaforce routine and let me know how it came out.
You know what? I could, because I could parlay that. And I'm actually, you know what? You just opened up something for me too, because I've been wanting to work on a G.I. Joe chunk, and Megaforce is perfect because to be like, I was never a G.I. Joe. It's Megaforce all the way.
Well,
Deeds, not words. Are you man enough for Megaforce?
If you need any help with some Joe stuff, let me know because I'm a huge Joe fan. So.
Well, so am I. Actually, I've got a whole.
All right, yo Joe, man.
Yeah, yo Joe, and thank you for joining us in this Doctor Who podcast.
Yeah. We'll be back next time.
Yo, unit.
Hell yeah.
Next time here on Mark Who 42's Universe. Bye, everyone.
Go Speed Racer. Go Speed Racer. Go Speed Racer. Go.
Dun, 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 dun.
Mark Who 42's Whoniverse has been written and presented by Mark Baumgarten, Patricia Helm, Eduardo-m-Freyre, and Christian-basel. We'd like to thank our special guest, Patrick Hawkins, from the Geeks of Comedy, for being on the show. This show was edited, produced, and directed by Mark Baumgarten. Please visit our new website at mark-who42.net and register to join and be part of the Whoniverse Army. And please comment. We can also be heard on iTunes, Stitcher Radio, World of Who, Podkicker, geekcast-radio.com, and florida-geek-scene.com. Tweet us at mark-who42 and check out our Facebook page, Mark Who 42's Whoniverse. We can be contacted by email at mark@mark-who42.net with the subject line, ? Doctor Who and its properties are owned by the BBC, the British Broadcasting Corporation. This podcast is owned and copyrighted by Mark Baumgarten, 2014.